This is it, guys. Washington is really talking about the proposal for a DOGE dividend. I mean, it's even gained support from DOGE head Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. Now, it's pretty straightforward. They want 20% of the government's savings to go back to taxpayers in the form of a DOGE dividend check. If we hit the $2 trillion savings goal, and they say we will, we could be seeing checks as high as $5,000. The 28-year-old hedge fund manager behind the idea, James Fishback, he said that he's already been meeting with Elon Musk and lawmakers. According to him, the president supports this, and Elon Musk, he likes the idea of incentivizing people to report waste, fraud, and abuse. In fact, the proposed bill will be coming in the next few days. The next few days, guys. Isn't this freaking exciting? President Trump himself mentioned it in a speech a couple weeks back, saying there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible. Now, according to the president, by doing this, Americans will help to tell us where the waste is. They'll be reporting it themselves. They participate in the process of saving money. True enough, guys, people are raring to go, as a new poll just showed that a DOGE dividend has a strong support across party lines. They even found that this could just be the thing that would make Democratic voters go Republican. For real, guys. I wonder how many Democrats you know would go Republican for a $5,000 check. Fair exchange? Now, honestly, guys, this couldn't come at a better time. Just watching President Trump's address to Congress, I've never seen the nation so divided, and it's just so frustrating to witness how Democratic lawmakers just seem unable to do one thing to help the nation. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I am definitely thankful that President Trump and Elon Musk are putting us back on the right track toward a united country. CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton, he confirmed it, as well as his new polls are now showing that Americans on Trump and DOGE efforts, Elon Musk and DOGE, should influence government spending and operations. 54%, the majority say that he and they should. Now, how about approving of Trump trying to cut staff at government agencies? Again, you get a majority vote here, 51%. And the best part about these DOGE dividends, it's that we could see legislation on them in the coming days. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller even confirmed that the DOGE checks will be worked on through the reconciliation process with Congress that's going underway right now. Dude, you gotta share this video with someone you know, because this is absolutely crazy. $5,000 checks? What are y'all buying? So here's James Fishback talking about it and saying that we're probably going to be seeing something in the coming weeks. Watch.
Here we are. James Fishback joins us live here on the Hill tonight. James, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Blake.
So you said last week that you've been talking to lawmakers and a bill could be coming here. What are you hearing? What are they telling you? And do you think actually legislation is going to be put forward?
Absolutely. Well, look, first and foremost, Article 1 is necessary, right? Calls for the power of the purse to be in the hands of Congress. So we've got to work with our legislative partners there. Honored to have the support of Elon and, of course, of President Trump on this DOGE dividend proposal. I had very productive meetings last week in the House and the Senate, and I am optimistic a bill is forthcoming to put President Trump's vision for DOGE coming full circle into law. It isn't just enough, Blake, to identify waste, fraud, and abuse. We have to refund the taxpayer their hard-earned money when their money was wasted and misused. And that's what the DOGE dividend calls for.
You say you're optimistic. Why? I know you're having these conversations, or you say you're having these conversations. So what makes you optimistic? Because here in Washington, there's a difference between talking to lawmakers and, yeah, that's a good idea, and then actually going forward with it.
Well, look, I think the plan will be revealed in the coming week or so. That's what the optimism stems from. I don't want to break any news right here, right now.
We'd love for you to if you want to.
What I will say, Blake, is one United States senator put it to me very bluntly. He said, this is good for people like Toby and Edith. And that was an analogy for everyday Americans in his home state of what they represent. They send about $270,000 to the federal government over their lifetime, and they've seen it squandered, they've seen it abused, they've seen it wasted. Not necessarily here in America, but abroad on Iraqi Sesame Street or in a transgender opera in Colombia, while at the same time, Blake, our roads and our bridges are crumbling, our education is sadly in dismay, and we're turning away veterans from essential health care. So it's time to refund the money. But as President Trump also said, Blake, on Air Force One, it's also time for the DOGE dividend to give an incentive to taxpayers to call out waste, fraud, and abuse in the government and to get them on board with this government efficiency movement.
What makes you think
do it without them, and the DOGE dividend is a way to do that.
What makes you think they'll get to $2 trillion? Because right now they say they're at $105 billion. That's 20x from here, James.
Yeah, well, we're only a month and a half in, and we've already hit $100 billion in savings. I'm confident they'll be able to do it. And the reason why is we haven't hit the Pentagon yet. We haven't rolled up our sleeves and cracked on the fraud in Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. We need to cut down on that. We need to open up the books. But look at what President Trump has been able to accomplish with Elon and a couple dozen engineers drinking Red Bull and eating Chick-fil-A. Now imagine, Blake, the DOGE dividend giving the permission, giving the deputization to 100 million taxpayers saying, look, if you see FEMA wasting money or the VA or HUD, call it in. DOGE is on the case. Why would they do that? Because they have every incentive. The more that DOGE saves, the bigger their DOGE dividend check is. And by the way, for this plan to work, we needn't hit 2 trillion, even though I really think we will. At 1 trillion in savings, the check goes from 5,000 to 2,500. Heck, even if there's only 500 billion, that's awfully low. The check is $1,250.
So you say
the number
there's
is important, but what's
I hear
more
you.
important, Blake, is the symbolism.
I hear you when you
of
say
sending hard-earned money back to taxpayers.
I mean, it's the American people's money to begin with, right? We were just being overcharged. Why don't we deserve some money back, right? Plus, as Fishburne pointed out, this approach will save taxpayers even more money. It will compound the returns that DOGE is finding because, see, every American has the mechanism with DOGE and the incentive with the DOGE dividend to report this waste, to report the fraud, and to report the abuse. In short, we'll save more of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars when we give every single American skin in the game. At least that's according to Fishback. Should Americans get a DOGE dividend check, or is this just another political stunt? Type DOGE check now if you support getting a share of the government savings, or scam alert if you think that this is just all smoke and mirrors. Let me see where everybody stands in the comments. Okay, guys, so let's be clear. The current proposal is that households that are net payers, those who pay into the government more than they receive in benefits, would receive 20% of all DOGE savings. Another 20% would be going toward paying down the national debt, and another 60% would likely be allocated to the budget each year. So he did the math already on this. He said it would mean roughly 79 million households would get a $5,000 check each if Elon Musk is able to cut $2 trillion from the federal budget that he's estimated that he can trim. Now, there's a lot of ways that he could do this. Fishback suggested that the first check would come when DOGE terminates in July 2026, but if it becomes law before then, Americans could technically get a check even sooner than that. And like I said earlier, guys, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller also said recently the DOGE checks will be worked on through the reconciliation process with Congress that's going underway right now. Now, I know what the naysayers are trying to say about this, that a possible dividend check could push inflation higher like stimulus checks did back during the pandemic. But according to Fishback, his targeted approach in dispersing checks will eliminate that issue. As he already explained, sending checks is not inflationary. Lockdowns and labor shortages compounded the effect of inflation during COVID. But see, the macro backdrop today is disinflationary. He even compared it to a tax refund season when the average check from the IRS is like $3,100 and it goes to people's rainy day fund, savings, and even paying down debt. So really, it's not that hard to understand. The DOGE dividend checks would simply refund American money that they've already contributed through income taxes. And the way people are going to use it, like how they did with the earlier stimulus checks by paying off debt, saving, or investing toward long-term goals like retirement, would not be inflationary. Plus, since the DOGE checks would only be sent to households that are paying taxes, these checks incentivize people to get back to work, unlike the COVID stimulus checks. Oh, and one last thing. If you guys remember, one positive outcome of the stimulus checks was that they pushed the stock market to new highs. DOGE dividend checks would also help stocks surge. Really, it's kind of like a win-win for everybody. Even Maya McGinnis, president of the Bipartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Government, who's pretty much as conservative as they come, said that if DOGE were able to generate $1 trillion in savings per year, absolutely additional savings being returned to taxpayers would make total sense and be desirable. Wow. Wow. So really, critics who are still throwing shade at this proposal, we better start looking at why they're really looking to deny this boon to the American people. You know what I'm saying? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, guys. Hit the like button if I'm making sense to you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more updates on this DOGE dividend check. All right, guys. You know what else is really good about these DOGE dividends? It's that support for it is so strong that it could mean more votes for the Republican Party moving forward. Now, if you guys remember, during his speech to Congress, lawmakers when Trump said put money back in citizens' pockets, not one Democratic lawmaker stood up and clapped. I mean, that should be all you need to know about where the two parties stand when it comes to helping out working class Americans, right? So yeah. According to the survey conducted by JL Partners, there was overwhelming cross-party support with 67% of Americans backing the proposal and 46% strongly supporting it. Let me ask you guys, do you support the DOGE dividend checks? Let me know. And even more interesting though, it also found that 1 in 4 Democrats and almost half of independents say receiving the dividend will make them more likely to vote for a Republican congressional candidate. Their director, Scarlett McGuire, commented on the survey. He said there is clear cross-party support for the DOGE dividend, with even more Democrats strongly in favor of the idea. But the way he sees it, Americans believe that it would make citizens more likely to report firsthand examples of government waste and fraud. And when asked about how receiving a DOGE dividend check would make them feel, the most common sense responses were happy, relieved, and excited. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Plus, the poll found that a majority, 56%, also said receiving the check would increase their trust with the government. I mean, if I got a random $5,000 check from the government after they've saved us money and reduced the national deficit, I would definitely start trusting the government too a little bit more. What about you guys? But really, the most important thing that they found out from the DOGE dividend survey is that 24% of Democrats and 29% of independents said that receiving the check would make them more likely to vote for a Republican congressional candidate in the upcoming elections. This is really bad news for Democrats, or at least I should say for the Democratic Party. Now, 1 in 3 Democrats also said that they would feel more positively toward Trump if they received a DOGE dividend check. Now, I wonder if Trump would try to put his name on that check. I don't know. I don't even think it freaking matters. And get this, guys. Apparently, 20% of those who voted for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election even said that a DOGE dividend check would make them more likely to vote for a Republican congressional candidate in 2026. So looks like the celebrities and word salads can only get you so far, even among your own supporters, huh? So all of these findings jive with how people feel and have been responding to Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. For one, a recent poll from Napoleon News Service found that 59% support returning 20% of DOGE savings to Americans. I definitely support it. CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton also talked about this recently on their show. He said he was truly surprised that the majority of Americans want Trump and DOGE to cut government waste. Here.
Joins me now to talk more about how people are feeling about when we're talking about the cuts that DOGE is bringing about. How are they feeling about
Yeah, this to me was one of the more shocking figures that I saw. Made me go, wait a minute, hold on one second. Whoa, Americans on Trump and Joe's efforts. Musk and DOGE should influence government spending and operations. Look at this. 54%. The majority say that he and they should. How about approve of Trump trying to cut staff at government agencies? Again, you get a majority here. 51%. So yeah, Elon Musk might not be that popular, but these cuts and the idea of spending cuts, at least within the federal government and cutting at government agencies, that actually has majority support. I was truly surprised by this, Kate, but the numbers are the numbers.
Well, there is a view that cuts across Democrat and Republican of people thinking that Washington is too big, bloated federal government, waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, those are drain the swamp is what people run on over and over again. How do they feel? What do they think they're actually cutting?
Yeah, what do they think they're actually cutting? Democrats want to argue that the type of spending that Musk is cutting is mainly necessary programs, but that comes in at just 36%. The wasteful spending actually wins the plurality here at 42%, according to a recent Washington Post Ipsos poll. And I think that is the reason why you see that when it comes to Musk and DOGE, you see, in fact, the majority believe he should have some influence because they believe, the plurality believe, that he is cutting wasteful spending, not necessary programs that Democrats are arguing.
So yeah, like Enton said, Americans are very supportive of the cuts because they largely feel DOGE is targeting waste rather than essential programs. He pointed it out. Americans on Trump and DOGE efforts, Musk and DOGE should influence government spending and operations. 54%. The majority are saying that they should and he should. And Trump trying to cut staff at government agencies, again, he gets a majority vote here too, 51%. I think the bottom line is this. These cuts and the idea of spending cuts, at least within the federal government, and cutting at government agencies that actually has majority of support. And even though he said he was truly surprised, he had to give it to them. The numbers are the numbers. Now, another interesting thing for me here is how effective Trump and Elon Musk have been in communicating what they've been doing for the American people. The host actually asked Harry Enton what Americans believe Trump and DOGE are cutting in the federal government. He said Democrats want to argue that the type of spending that Elon Musk is cutting is mainly necessary programs, but that comes in at just 36%. So the wasteful spending actually wins the plurality here at 42%. So it's really no surprise that the majority believe Elon Musk and DOGE should have some influence because they believe that he is actually cutting wasteful spending, not necessarily programs, and that Democrats are arguing. I mean, Democrats, they have protested DOGE cuts, including outside the headquarters of the USAID and the Treasury Department after Elon Musk announced plans to shutter USAID. Democratic Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett even had the nerve to say that she doesn't believe that there is substantial waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. Well, even CNN confirmed that DOGE had cut programs like gender-affirming healthcare in Guatemala, teaching people in Kazakhstan to fight back against internet trolls, voluntary male circumcisions in Mozambique, creating work opportunities for young LGBTQI plus LMNOP people in Serbia. I mean, so really no waste, no fraud and abuse in any of that. I'm not buying it, Jasmine. But what do y'all think? Do you support the cuts that DOGE is making and hopefully the DOGE dividend checks that are going to be coming out from them? Drop me a quick yes or no down below if you want to check. And hey, stick around, guys. We got some recommended videos that are about to pop up in a second. Check those out. As always, thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.